In other news, a new front has opened not on the Russian battlefield, but in the very heart of Kyiv. For the first time since the war began, Ukrainians are turning their fury not on foreign invaders, but on their very own president. Thousands spill into the streets, venting outrage after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a bill that critics say guts the country's fight against corruption. Take a look.
Waving flags, holding placards and chanting shame. Thousands of Ukrainians flooded the capital this week, not in defiance of Putin, but in protest against President Volodymyr Zelensky. For the first time since Russia's brutal invasion, Zelensky faces a rebellion from his own people, not over strategy or surrender, but over corruption.
In general, this is what probably still holds our system together, because if we completely abandon the National Anti-Corruption Bureau, then everyone will be able to do what they want even more, and everyone will steal like the last time. It's not fun at all.
Considering that the primary objective of such protests is to express the will of the people and influence the authorities, it is an attempt to demonstrate what the people want. It is not simply to shame them and say that they are bad, but to convey an opinion.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signed a bill on Tuesday revoking the autonomy of two anti-corruption agencies. Critics say the law would significantly weaken the independence of two key anti-corruption agencies and give Zelensky complete control over investigations. Recalling the spirit of Euromaidan, demonstrators are saying that Ukraine's sacrifices at the front must not be betrayed by corruption at the top.
Do you know how it feels like now? Like at the beginning of 2014 protests. We can't stand it anymore. The situation is different. It feels like we are directing our energy the wrong way, but we have to do it. That's how it is.
Ukraine's progress towards transparent governance, a cornerstone of its aspirations for European integration and a key demand of its international benefactors, now appears dangerously compromised. International observers long pointed out endemic corruption in Ukraine. Now Kyiv's hopes for EU integration and continued Western support teeter on the edge, threatened not only by enemy shells but by creeping internal rot. This internal struggle, fought not with bullets but with banners and slogans, pose a critical test for Zelensky's leadership. For Ukraine's democratic trajectory, it threatens to alienate key allies and dampen the very spirit of resistance that has defined the war-torn nation. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
While Ukraine's front lines are showing signs of strain, and this as Russian forces press on their advantage. With important Western aid delayed right now for Ukraine, all eyes are now on diplomatic talks scheduled to take place in Istanbul between Ukraine and Russia. With the Kremlin clearly saying that they want to move on but not without achieving their war goals. Our next report telling you more.
A chilling vortex of war grips Ukraine, its front lines buckling under the blow of Russian forces, while its skies are torn apart by a barrage of aerial terror. The ground trembles beneath the unending thud of artillery on the eastern axis, particularly around Pokrovsk. Ukrainian positions are under immense sustained pressure, with Russian forces making incremental yet relentless advances. The situation is similarly dire in the north, around Sumy, where cross-border assaults and intense shelling continue unabated, forcing civilians to flee once peaceful towns. Even Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, remains a constant target, its outskirts a deadly battleground as Russian forces attempt to probe and penetrate defenses.
Of course I want all of this to end quickly, because we were living on a powder keg. You don't know how it was. You go to sleep and in the morning you wake up and think, thank God I woke up. You go to sleep and say, thank God I slept. You flinch at every bang.
Adding to the ground reality is a dramatic escalation in Russia's aerial assault. In recent weeks, Ukraine has endured an unprecedented deluge of drones, missiles, and devastating glide bombs.
Yeah, they told us to leave the house. Where were we supposed to go? So we ran away without taking anything with us and left. It must have been about 2 weeks after we ran away. They were probably hanging out here, and now the apartment has turned into ruins.
As the skies and the front lines burn, Ukraine finds itself in an increasingly defenseless state. The promised deliveries of crucial Western weaponry, particularly the life-saving Patriot air defense systems, capable of countering Russia's advanced missiles, remain agonizingly slow to materialize. Kyiv announced that it lost its first French-supplied Mirage 2000 fighter jet during a mission on Tuesday, adding to the list of fighter jets including American F-14s, which have been downed by Russian forces during combat. Ukraine and Russia held a meeting in Istanbul for the third round of peace talks, haggling over prisoner exchanges and territory. Moscow has made it clear that there couldn't be any miraculous breakthrough, but Kyiv remains hopeful. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Well, Russia has tightened its grip on online censorship. Platforms like Facebook and Instagram have been banned since 2022, but now even online searches might land citizens in trouble. Duma, the lower house of the Russian parliament, has passed a bill that will fine citizens for merely searching online for what it calls extremist content. That includes material linked to banned political groups, LGBTQ+ organizations, and even tech platforms like Meta. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, has already been declared as an extremist organization by Russia. Now, lawmakers are pushing for WhatsApp, also owned by Meta, to be included in a list of restricted software, calling it a national security threat in Russia. Well, according to a Reuters report, nearly 70% of Russians use the messaging app every day. And the report says that if WhatsApp exits, if WhatsApp exits the Russian market, it will likely boost the reach of Max. It's a newly launched state-backed messaging platform designed to integrate with government services. The Kremlin frames it as a move towards digital sovereignty, the idea that a nation should control its own digital infrastructure, platforms and data. But while that concept is not new, it's being stretched in Russia to justify broader censorship. The new law penalizes users who intend to access extremist material and not those who accidentally land on banned content. Rights groups fear the vague language of the bill could lead to abuse, from blackmail to mass surveillance. But this trend is not just limited to Russia. China pioneered a version of digital sovereignty with its Great Firewall, restricting access to global platforms while also promoting domestic giants like WeChat and Baidu. India has banned hundreds of Chinese apps since 2020, citing national security and data privacy concerns. Turkey and Iran have both demanded foreign platforms store data locally and also follow domestic laws. Not just that, even the European Union is pushing its own version through the Digital Markets Act, cloud rules, and desire to curb US big tech dominance. And in news from India, the country is augmenting its border security with a major tactical upgrade. The Border Security Force, or BSF, is reportedly preparing to deploy dedicated drone units to neutralize hostile drones and perhaps mount counterattacks when needed. This new strategy comes in the backdrop of the 4-day conflict with Pakistan earlier this year. Reports say planning is already underway to base these drone units at key BSF outposts covering the entire 3,323-kilometer border with Pakistan stretching from Gujarat to Jammu and Kashmir. The BSF's drone squads will be equipped with a range of UAVs, some designed for aerial surveillance, others capable of long-range precision strikes, and even kamikaze drones, engineered to crash into high-value targets. Now, to operate these drones effectively, BSF has reportedly started training select personnel in advanced aerial tactics. This includes identifying and destroying enemy drones, disabling radar systems, jamming hostile signals, and executing swarm attacks deep into enemy territory. Now, each shortlisted border post will reportedly have 2 to 3 drone operators on constant standby. The missions will be coordinated reportedly through a central command hub currently being set up at BSF's Chandigarh Battalion headquarters. The BSF guards 687 forward post along the international border with Pakistan, while the Indian Army oversees the line of control. Now, this drone initiative is reported to be built on lessons learned during Operation Sindoor. BSF successfully intercepted several drones and retaliated by hitting Pakistani Ranger positions across the border. So the message right now is clear. India is upping readiness, not just to defend its skies, but to hit back harder, faster, and with precision. In the backdrop of the deadly and tragic Air Force plane crash in Dhaka, concerns mount over the safety of the Chinese origin F-7 fighter aircraft. Urgent questions also arise for Islamabad, which relies heavily on the decades-old Chinese-made warplanes. The jet, operated by the Bangladesh Air Force, went down in a populated area on Monday, resulting in the death of at least 29 people, while nearly 60 people remain hospitalized. Now, many of the killed and injured are children on whose school the aircraft fell as they attended class inside. Although reportedly deemed obsolete by modern military standards, Bangladesh still operates around 36 of these fighters. But it is Pakistan right now that may have more to worry about. According to the International Institute for Strategic Studies, Pakistan has 66 F-7 aircraft in active service as of now, reportedly making it the largest user of these jets. Islamabad has experienced several similar mishaps involving the F-7, including a deadly crash in 2022 that killed 2 pilots. Initial reports from Bangladesh military officials point to mechanical failure as the likely cause of the incident. And the accident has revived perhaps long-standing concerns about the viability of the aging military aircraft still in service across various countries worldwide. Other countries that continue to operate variants of the F-7 include Nigeria, Egypt, Iran, North Korea, and Myanmar. These countries reportedly utilize the aircraft mostly for light combat duties or pilot training missions. The F-7, built by China's Chengdu Aircraft Corporation, is essentially an upgraded version of the Soviet MiG-21. China manufactured the fighter jets from 1965 until 2013. Beijing formally phased it out of its own Air Force in 2023, the F-7. Safety concerns surrounding the F-7 are not new. Over the years, multiple air forces have reported crashes caused by engine trouble, system failures and pilot error. Just last month, a Myanmar J-7 fighter jet, which is another variant of the aircraft, crashed under mysterious circumstances in the Safang region. As countries like Pakistan continue to rely on these aging jets, the Dhaka jet crash is likely to prompt pressing questions as to how long can they continue to do so.